All right, let's get into audience questions for the week. First one is about the $1.9 trillion coronavirus stimulus bill. Dave, and there's a bunch of versions of this going around. But the question is, why are all of these right wingers saying that most of the 1.9 trillion has nothing to do with coronavirus if it's a coronavirus relief bill? Now, this isn't true. We're going to go through what is in this bill and actually talk about the origins of this claim that most of the money isn't for COVID stimulus. But this is not a new claim from Republicans. They did the exact same thing with Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Sandy, when it hit New York and New Jersey years ago, I think it was 2012, the response bill contained not only money to fix the damage that happened, but also because American infrastructure is woefully outdated, and because we have a system of elected government that doesn't incentivize thinking proactively, spending now to prevent a problem in the future that will cause us to spend more money. We are in the unfortunate situation where sometimes, in order to get things fixed and prevent future problems, you have to do it when a system breaks and you have a problem. With Hurricane Sandy, you saw that there was a bunch of money in the Hurricane Sandy relief bill, which people like Ted Cruz referred to as pork. And there was some pork, but a lot of it was not. That meant to strengthen infrastructure. When you look at the flooding that took place, when you look at the breakdown of all sorts of different resources and infrastructure at that time, the idea was, hey, we now have evidence that because we didn't strengthen this stuff, because it's so not robust, it's so fragile, when we have a situation like a hurricane that hits an area that less frequently gets hurricanes, New York and New Jersey, all this stuff breaks. So as part of recovering, let's also strengthen things for the future. Okay, with that framework, the meme that's been going around is, well, hold on a second. If each American, not everybody, but most Americans get $1,400 and then you get some money for kids, you'll see it floating around that only a few hundred billion of the 1.9 trillion is for COVID. This is so silly, but because it's being repeated so much, it's worth understanding that in the 1.9 trillion, you have, for example, 160 billion for vaccine purchases, distribution, injection, as well as COVID testing. That's COVID related. It's not cash for people, but the more we vaccinate, the faster we do away with this pandemic and the more the economy will recover. Come on, guys. You're saying that's not actually for COVID? 360 billion for state and local governments to make sure that they are solvent. Many states, because of when you have a reduction in business activity, states where those businesses exist take in reduced tax revenue. The states still hopefully are providing police, fire, schools, all this different stuff. So as a result of coronavirus, a bunch of different states need money. You're really going to say that's not coronavirus related? $8.5 billion for rural hospitals to stay open. And of course, those are going to be important vaccination sites in rural areas. $25 billion to fund child care centers. You're going to say that has nothing to do with coronavirus. One of the issues we have right now is many parents can't get back to work if their kids aren't back in school. So you very quickly start to understand why funding childcare, which, by the way, we don't fund enough in this country anyway, is related to coronavirus. $15 billion to subsidize childcare for essential workers. We need our essential workers to be working. They need to be working to make money. But if they have to be taking care of their kids, they can't work, and then they can't put food on their family's table. It's coronavirus related. Why are we in this situation? $130 billion for K through 12 schools to reopen and decrease class sizes. It costs money to decrease class sizes to open safely. If you decrease class sizes, you either need additional teachers to have way more classes, or you need to be paying overtime if teachers are going to be doing 2 sessions. However you're going to do it, it's going to cost money. People on the right want schools open. People on the left want schools open safely. Here's money in order to do that. We could go on and on and on. $15 billion to prevent airline layoffs. Okay, there are some who are saying airlines should be allowed to fail. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever the case may be, airlines are a big piece of infrastructure, transportation infrastructure. You could make the case, let them fail, but we're going to be depending on airlines if and when things start to improve to allow commerce and allow travel to restart. Travel, one of the hardest hit industries. So, you can make a case on any of these things. Well, maybe the 15 should be 12 or something like that. But the talking point that's floating around is most of the money has nothing to do with coronavirus. And of course, that is completely and totally untrue. This isn't a new talking point from the right. And it's not at all surprising that they're rehashing it and reviving it right now.